Hello everybody, welcome back to Lone Oak Farms on Farming Simulator 17. Beautiful map created by Bullet Bill. Let me get my HUDs back. Back in 17. It's even a fairly old map now, although Oxygen David took it to Farm Sim 19. Remains to be seen if it'll ever be taken to 22. I don't think there's plans on the table to do that at this time. But sure was fun making it, and I know a lot of people have enjoyed it. Don't know that there's anybody that's enjoyed it more than I have, to be honest. I still get a thrill from this map, and it's hard not to, and I know I've commented on this before. I hope everybody has a special place on the planet that makes them feel happy inside. There's nothing quite like home, as they say. But anyway, we are trying to beat the rain. So we have our hero out here uh, baling a few bales. And maybe what I should do is, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll let him continue a little bit. I got one more little bit. If I haven't bored everybody to tears, I've been in these episodes visiting about the on-farm processing that Lone Oak does with its seed. What they call their seed cleaner. A lot of grass seed farms do this. Oh, look at that. That bale somehow ended up on end. That doesn't happen very often. I guess it did. Who knows what freak of gravity caused it to do that in the Giant's engine. So maybe what I'll do, I have just a few more pictures to share if anybody's interested, and if you don't like them, maybe skip this episode. Whatever you want to do. It fascinates me, so I'm going to go look at a few more pictures again that I took back in the day. It's kind of interesting, that I've visited the cleaner at some, oh, I wouldn't say it was pivotal times, um, but at times when change was happening. Let me just get my picture cranked up here. This, I think, was taken at, oh, it must have been a Christmas family gathering up there. This is one of the units that sits inside the clipper. Uh, Remember the clipper seed cleaner? Let me show this again. It'd be one of these units here. See this wood unit? Or this one down here. I think they pulled them out to refurbish them. I'm pretty sure what's going on here is they were putting in or setting it up so that it would handle different styles of screens. These were the old screens that you could see in here. They didn't have any balls bouncing around in them. And I think they were refitting it so that it would handle those instead of the brushes, that would go back and forth in here. And the brush, that probably is what this is right here, uh, where it would kind of come through a pulley hole in it and run it through there. So I think at this time, I don't remember the year, they were redoing it. So this thing is really stripped down. I think they were painting it, sanding it down, giving it some TLC, replacing worn sections of wood. These machines never really die if someone takes care of them and continually keeps them updated. I even over the years, it wasn't on this machine, I don't think, it was more of the Crippen. You can make your own parts in some areas of it, and we had some hardwood that we would use to make some of those parts. And so when the old one wore out or broke, we would go make a new one in the wood shop and fit it in there, which was kind of some fun work. So here now they had the bagger unit. I think this is probably when they were moving it to this area. So they were putting it in here. Boy, they had chutes coming out of the wall. Don't know what's going on here. They since have opened this up. Back in the day when the cleaner was running slow or you just wanted to goof off, they had a hoop in here. You could shoot basketball hoops. But it's going to look a little different in here. Oops. Yeah, it's a couple of my brothers. We were wandering around. I'm not the only fool fascinated with this stuff. we're just kind of looking at some of the improvements they made, setting up a floor in here, um, and just looking and seeing the changes. And obviously there's still it's a work in progress as you see parts and things laying around all over. There's the clipper, although you'll see it has the sections out of it. I think it was sitting over kind of like we saw in the first picture. But you see the basics there. It's just waiting for it to be put back in. I think at this point it removed the Crippen, the old machine, and they moved the clipper over to put it where the Crippen used to sit, kind of on these heavy steel beams. By the way, this is where the clean seed comes out, I believe. So I think it goes in here. That's where they would take it up and send it either to the indents or to the carder. Another angle on the ad. It's kind of helpful having all the, I think that's maybe why I took some pictures, is all the equipment in this room was stripped out so you could get back and kind of get a decent picture of it. And like I say, there's been so many changes in this room over the years. This machine is no longer in there. That's for sure. Whether they still have it or not, I really don't know. All I know is it isn't in here and it isn't being used in this capacity anymore. This is looking up. That would have been, yeah, see, that's this metal bin here, or hopper, if you will. So this would be for the dirty seed to flow through, meter through the machine. This over here looks like the cardering unit. So this must be the clean seed that's coming off that goes down in there. Yeah, just a picture of a couple tubs. Yeah, right now it looks like they're just storing a few screens sitting in there. It's really wide open. I mean, this thing won't clean a single thing. So yeah, they're obviously refurbishing it. That's what we saw kind of in the first picture, if you will. But this is instructive. You kind of see the bowels of this machine. It's just kind of a wooden frame, and it just holds a couple banks of screens in it, and shakes them, and that's what cleans the seed. Old machine, but did the trick for many years. That's just another shot of the new steel hopper that they put up there. They must have retired the plywood one that we had up there. For all I know, with year after year after year of seed hitting the plywood, it probably was starting to eat away or wear it out. So that's could be why they replaced it then with something even more durable. Steel probably is more expensive, but yeah, I think they still have that in there that they use. That's the old debearder. Um, I think we've seen a picture of that before. I've described it. Another angle on the machine and the bucket elevators that haul material off, and it isn't really hooked up at the moment. Um, like I say, they're doing a lot of work in here, so there's a lot of pipes that are disconnected that ordinarily would be hooked up, or chutes, this, that, and the other, as to how these things work together. Ah, yes, another picture of the famous tunnel and the floor auger that went down there. When we'd open these other bins, we always would have to we'd undo some bolts and pull up the floor, and we would put down a grate over the auger. Years ago, I worked in here where a fella didn't use the auger or use the guard. And I know my uncles were very upset. I think anybody that's been around a farm knows augers are inherently very dangerous. And even if it inhibits the flow of material for something fluffy like grass seed, for your own safety, you gotta put in the grate. You can't cut corners on that, or you just run a lot of risk. So I learned a lesson there, to always have that in there so you could be protected. Because we were stepping around this all the time, and you see all the dust on the floor. It would have just taken one slip, and we're in the auger and then permanently bunged up for life, potentially. Another angle. This is a control panel for the cleaner. Bin number 2 is right here. Bin number 1 is through this doorway. That's a stairwell going up. Second floor is kind of sitting up here. And again, I don't know what all this is. It must be coming off the carder, perhaps. Maybe different grades or whatever they were trying to do. I'm standing in the tunnel here. Oh, another picture of the pit. We've already seen. Aha, here's a picture of this. Look at those worn handles. Oh my goodness. I can't count the number of scoops I've taken with that thing. Let's go check our tractor. Oh, what a trooper. Even around all these bales, it somehow is managing to get the job done. Cool. Yeah, and I'm supposed to be doing a Let's Play, right? This scoop, and it's sitting in one of the bins. We must have brought a temporary light in here or something. That looks like, I think they were storing some screens in here. That looks like the edge of a screen for the cleaner. This scoop was used hundreds and thousands and thousands of times to clean out these bins. This was our primary tool. And so the door of the bin is in back of this. So it's off on the other side, kind of down here in the corner. You can't see it. So it's in back of us. So we would get a scoop of seed. We would wheel it over to the door. We would dump it into that floor elevator again and again and again. And like I say, I think I've mentioned before, working in the grass seed cleaner was an excellent workout. I was in the best shape of my life working there. You just were constantly exercising all day long. And depending on how fast it was running, you would literally be sweating all day. That's how hard you were working. I look back on that and go, whoa, I don't think I would survive hardly an hour doing that kind of exercise now. I'd have to work back up to it, but it was good, clean work. The trouble is, it's no longer as efficient as what they need for the volume that they have, for the hired help that they have. So I don't know. I can't tell which bin this is in, but they're starting to knock holes in the bins so they can get a forklift and the big scoop in there so they can haul it out that way and take it to a pit outside. If I return to the diagram, I know they've knocked holes in these, possibly into this here also, to where, when they get into one, they can use the forklift to zip in here, get a big old scoop, dump it in the pit, and so someone doesn't have to work their tail off putting scoop after scoop after scoop into this floor auger. I mean, it's going to end up in the floor auger anyhow, but no longer manually. They do it, and there's probably cleanup at the end, when the bins empty out. Forklift isn't going to get all of that, but to cut down a lot on the manual labor. Another thing the forklift isn't going to help you with, is you fill these bins, and if it goes over the top of the tunnel, well, you still got to get a ladder and get up there and manually scoop and sweep that off. But again, better just that little bit than having to do the whole bin, just to run it a bit more efficiently. Because I honestly don't know how quick the new seed cleaner works. What I do know is the type of grass that they grow now tends to be the type that's a little bit heavier seed than what we had back in the day. So I have a feeling this thing can book, and it probably is too much for a person to keep up bagging off the clean seed while trying to keep the thing filled. You want to keep your machine filled constantly, so you can get a lot done. So if the thing empties out periodically, well, that isn't good for efficiency, if you're trying to catch up on clean seed or whatever. So probably have to have additional tools to help you move more bulk. But back in the day, it was this, and it looks like the handles are duct taped on or something, or maybe we put that on there to kind of be kind to our hands. I don't recall ever using gloves when we worked in there, so your hands tended to toughen up over time, whether it was handling this or the bags or that kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's a Carter unit, just kind of looking at it at a different angle, moving those big discs that are in there. Kind of sitting upstairs. Oh, yes, here we see the stairwell again. We've already seen that. That's another picture of the Carter. I guess this would show kind of I could zoom in to show some of maybe you can see it there, maybe you can't, in those discs to pull out the weeds. and to separate the good material from the bad. Yeah, I guess this is a picture of the other little stairwell heading clear up to the top. This was the roof well, not really roof access. It was indirectly. But there was a catwalk up here that went to all of the bins that had seed in them, except for the office one, which you had to kind of curl around. You could ultimately get up on the roof, but you had to pull yourself up onto the roof through the holes. So anytime an auger was being moved, someone had to come up top here to open the roof jack or whatever you call it up there so that the auger snout could be put in and bulk material brought in to these bins. This is the bucket elevator coming off the pit. The tunnel's right down here. You can see the edge of it is the edge of the cleaner. So all the dirty material's coming way up top here. And it looks like there might even be a little auger taking it over to the metal hopper, so before it gets fed into the cleaner. Another angled, yeah, that's what it's doing. This is coming straight off of the bucket elevator, dumping it in. Windows to help you gauge how full it is. Oh, that'd be so much easier running doing it that way than how we did it in the old days. Another picture of the carter. Let's go check our baler. Oh, look at that, he's done. So, you know what? He didn't clean up this last little bit, so we're gonna help him out. Okay. I don't know. Well, we got a little bit down here. I think he's done a pretty good job of picking everything up. There we grabbed a tiny bit more. Like I said, trying to widen him out so that when he went around corners, like up here, that he would just pick up all the material and we didn't have any little bits that we had to clean up. So it appears he did a decent job. How do I get that last? There we go, it's wide. No little bits. Excellent. And I'm basically left with an hour and 51 to get this field cleaned up. Yeah, I'm pleased. He did a passable job cleaning up the field and getting everything baled. So pleased about that. So we'll drop him off here. Maybe what I'll do just for the moment, I'm going to pause this so we can finish the pictures over here once and for all on the cleaner, so I never have to bore anybody with that again, just to get through this, and then I'll start hauling bales back in game. Yeah, this is a carter, another close-up of the carter. Those are my brothers heading up the stairs there. Yeah, just different angles on this equipment. Yeah, there's even a hammer sitting in here. Hopefully they remember to pull it out of the air before they turn the machines back on. Not that they would here. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that are disconnected. This one appears to be connected or hooked up. This one here, trash. This is probably headed out to the trash or going into the trash barrel. Don't know if they had a bunker at this time. They might have. I don't recall. Yeah, like I say, I don't know just how interested everybody is in machinery or this kind of thing that is cleaning. There's a big old motor on there, dust handling, everything disconnected, discombobbled. Some of that was even piped right into the machine itself, I think to suck dust out of it. Even with all the help that this provided, and it did help a lot, there still was a fair amount of dust in there. You could really make it hard to see in there if you, depending on what you were doing. It all just depended on what you were trying to accomplish. Something would cause dust, and like I've mentioned in a previous video, probably should have spent a lot more time wearing a mask. Now this is a chute coming out. I have no idea what it's for. Although I do know at this time, I think they were starting to do a little bit more bulk handling of clean seed. We've kind of talked about the bagging of seed. That's how it was all done back in the day. But kind of as time went on, I think more is being handled bulk. And when I say bulk, I mean within a pallet. You still need to sample it, so the buyer knows what they're getting. But on a pallet will be a big old sack. And maybe I have something in here. I can't remember if I've shown what that kind of looks like. I think I've also mentioned too, this is the seed warehouse part. It also for a while doubled as a shop. You see a drill press, there's probably a welding table, there's tools laying about here. So for a while, this is where they did a lot of their mechanical work on their machinery, in addition to what they're doing here in the cleaner for remodel and that kind of thing. Oh, here I'm way up top now. This is the third story. Just to the left would be the access to the bins. But this is, I guess, looking at the auger coming off of, which we don't see on here, coming off of a bucket elevator with a dirty seed to fill this. It's wide open. Anything could be put in there. So, and also would overflow. So you had to kind of pay attention to your windows. You couldn't just keep filling it willy-nilly. Had to pay attention, otherwise it would literally overflow, and that would be quite the disaster, honestly. In the old days, the wooden one that we had, I don't think it would overflow. I think we had a hatch on it, and I guess it would, in theory, be possible to stuff it tight, and fortunately, I don't think I ever did that. I made other mistakes in there, but I don't think I ever overfilled the dirty seed hopper. It's also interesting to me what they did in here. I'm trying to remember if this is new. I kind of think it is, where they put tin work on the inside. Uh, Not sure why that is. Why you couldn't just see the rafter. Oh, could be this is a different style of truss. That must be what it is. Because I think when you get over the bins, it's more standard style trusses holding the roof up. So this is probably engineered differently. So they just put tin on the inside, maybe to keep the things clean and tidy. I really don't know. Yeah, top down look, still working on it. Sheet of plywood, probably because they're standing on it, working on the machine. Yeah, it's just the bucket elevator coming up. That's a big one coming off the pit from the floor auger. Oh yeah, this is the catwalk looking into, kind of like I was saying, the trusses are different on this section over here. Um, these are the bins. So when you needed to open the roof area of a bin, you would hop through here, march down the catwalk wherever you needed, feel your way along over to where it was, hoping you didn't slip and end up on the concrete floor down below. I don't know that they had any lights up here. I think I commented on that before. You know, dust is as amazing as it may seem. This has happened a number of times in history. I think even with wheat, uh, dust particles can ignite and even explode. There was a grass seed cleaning facility in the neighborhood, almost on the Lone Oak map. Just one of their neighbors that had a fire in their cleaner, and it was a dust fire. Somehow the dust ignited from some sparks, maybe some welding that they were doing, I don't recall, and burned the facility. So I kind of think that's why there are no lights up here. You kind of just had to feel your way along, do the best you could, know which bin you needed. It wasn't complicated. There's only 7 bins, and to feel your way along to know where the roof part was. But it just was too dangerous to put in lights, because if you turn them on and leave them on, and if there's seed packed in around them or dust, you could possibly have a fire, which was obviously to be avoided in a seed warehouse. Yeah, just got another picture looking down into the bins. Yeah, this is probably a side catwalk, just loose boards, if you will, that you could stand on and walk across to get to the particular roof jack. Uh, Possibly. Either that or it was this. Who knows? Maybe it was storing something up there. Yeah, my brother's just kind of observing this. Yeah, you can tell they're working on it. Look at this. I mean, they got something here kind of holding it in place, maybe till they're able to fix it better with something else. Oops, is that the next picture? That's a cousin of mine. I think now the pictures that I have are of it in operation. I don't remember if I took these pictures or not. It's kind of interesting in looking at this one. I mean, first off, the office is right over here, so that's kind of where this was sitting at this time. But you look down the hallway here, you see clear to the end. I think they must have put in the pit, but there's no building. You know, in game, there is a building down here, so this must have been, they built the pit, so there's concrete work down here now with a pile of seed. Uh, Probably brought to it from bin storage up in the shop, you know, the hay shed unit, that other new building out there. But there's no building down here that was yet to be built. So you can see kind of change over time. That's my cousin working on there. These machines are in full operation. You can't really tell, but this particular day they were. So you kind of get some picture of how dirty it gets in there. Periodically sweep the floor. The bearder unit now no longer upstairs, sitting kind of over there. Oh, blurry picture. Yeah, this was a trash box. Sorry, that's a terrible picture. Here's kind of what it would look like coming off out of this hopper. And like I say, this equipment here would meter it across this screen. And the top one always fascinated me in particular because, it would take off this big stems, if you will. And actually, I think there's a couple screens here. It may actually dump it onto two screens. And so you have double the work happening here. I've looked at some diagrams of these machines, and I think you could set them up that way. So it's pulling the big material. I mean, you look at some of this. I mean, this is stems, that the combine didn't blow out. These aren't seeds. So the top screen and maybe the second one pulled out the big stuff. Um, yeah, that's kind of just what it did. There's a picture of it working, another angle, kind of looking down at the Carter. I almost wonder if I took these after they had all this new stuff in here installed. Maybe some of those previous pictures were Christmas. This might be the following summer, when they actually had this working. So anyway, you know what? I think we're done with the grass seed cleaner. This now I think is like the 5th episode where we visited about it. There's a lot more that could be delved into here, but I think I'll spare everyone and get talking about other stuff. Let's go back in game. We got just a couple minutes to finish the episode. Oops, this game is paused. We want to continue. Okay, so let's get to our truck, and I think like everybody learned last time, I'm not very good at bale handling, so we're gonna just do it this way. We'll pretend our bales have wings. Oh, hear those birds? I love it, Kimchi. Let me see here. Work position, X, square bales. Alright, here we go. Let's get in here and start picking them up. Maybe could have just turned this into chop straw, done it that way. I kind of believe that chop straw is installed on this map. Oh, pardon my driving. But I don't remember if it is. It doesn't really matter. We'll just... Oh, that reaches quite a ways. That's handy. I think I've modded this trailer so that it reaches out and grabs things at a fair distance. Just to try to help to pick up the field. I think I've tried to leave this only at 3 layers. Because I've only ever seen... I think I could put up to 5 on here, but... I'll just leave it at 3 layers and take I don't know that they would take a truck out this way, but since we're over here, we just well use, in real life, there's what's called a fire break down between these fields. It's, for all intents and purposes, it's another little road. Um, so I suppose it could come out this way. It's just on the neighbor's property. So we'll take this, we'll head into the sail point over here, kind of through the back way, and drop it off. And I think by the time we do that, we are going to be done with this episode. Trying to remember where the turn-in is. Nope. That's another placeable area. I built it into the map over there just so we could put something on it. We'll hopefully do that at some point. I know when I had this on a server, we had that. Oh, I think I want to go in here. Hopefully nobody's coming behind me. Let's see if we can sneak our way in there. Yeah, I don't think we would come in this way in real life. Nope, another autosave. Coming into, I think I mentioned what his name was. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I shouldn't say. I don't know. I've been free with mentioning names and whatnot. There we go. Sold the bales. I maybe should have taken a picture. You know, maybe by this fella's barn. This was a guy described in a previous episode who couldn't claim his inheritance until he was well into his 50s, possibly even older. It's just one of those things that are anomalies I remember hearing about a neighbor over the years. So we're going to call the episode here. Thank you so much for coming along. And like I say, I apologize if I bored anybody showing all these old pictures. I'm still quite enamored with the place, I'm sure, as everybody can see. But thank you for stopping by to watch my little video. Wish you a wonderful day, and we will see you on the next one.